Hello everyone and welcome back to the Dungeon Learner's Guide. Today we've got another Commander's Guild deck tech. This is deck 244 and it's titled Your Choice, Skip Your Turn or Lose. And if you haven't seen this show before, what we're doing is randomly selecting a card from scryfall.com or from among suggested cards, working with a budget of $100 or less and building a commander deck for Magic the Gathering around a theme of the chosen card. So this week, our random card was suggested to us by NC Steffens over on YouTube, and that card is Havoc Festival. And Havoc Festival is 4 black-red for an enchantment that says players can't gain life, and at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player loses half of their life rounded up. So, a couple of key things about this card. One, it is each player's upkeep, so this will impact us as well. So obviously we want to make sure that we can somehow get around it, which we will talk about later. And it also prevents people from gaining life, so there's no way anyone's able to get out of this once it hits the board. It will slowly just whittle people down. So with that in mind, let's take a look at our commander for this week and figure out what exactly it is we're trying to do. And this week, our commander is actually going to be the very first time we've ever repeated a commander on this channel, and that is going to be Obeka Brute Chronologist. So a few years ago at this point, I built an Obeka deck that was designed to have negative end step triggers and get around them with Obeka. This deck is almost the exact opposite. We actually want to focus on cards like Havoc Festival that trigger in the upkeep, because we can then do a little bit of shenanigans. And because of that, Obeka's ability to tap and the player whose turn it is may end the turn is incredibly important. Other than that, she is just 1 blue, black, red for a 3/4 ogre wizard, so not a small creature by any means, but we really do want her for that ability. So let's move on to some of the themes of our deck and pick apart what exactly it is we're trying to do. First up, I already mentioned the negative effects like Havoc Festival, and we are loaded with those types of effects. One such example is Sunken Hope, which is 3 blue for an enchantment that says at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player returns a creature they control to their owner's hand. So our main goal with this deck is to stack up as many negative upkeep effects as possible and give our opponents a very simple choice. They can either choose to take all of these negative effects in their upkeep, or we can activate Obeka and they can skip their turn and therefore skip the negative effects. So it's a little bit tricky because obviously you don't want to skip your turn in a game of Commander, but there are going to be situations where it does matter more that you don't take all of these upkeep triggers than it does to, take your turn. And once we get set up in a way that really puts the pressure on the rest of the table, we can also choose to actually skip our own turn to avoid a lot of our symmetrical upkeep effects and watch as our opponents slowly get burned out of the game. So that is theme number 1, and to help us support theme number 1, we of course have theme number 2, which is some untap synergies. Because Obeka's ability forces her to tap to end the turn, we want to make sure that she is available to allow our opponents the benefit of skipping their turn every single turn. And the way we do that is with cards like Forensic Researcher, which is 2 and a blue for a 1/3 Merfolk Detective. It can tap to untap another target permanent you control, or you can tap it, collect evidence 3, and tap target creature you don't control. Now, that second ability is almost never going to be relevant in this deck. We almost always just want this to untap. But the way that it can work is in the upkeep, when all of our opponent's negative triggers go on the stack, we can use Forensic Researcher to untap Obeka, assuming she's already tapped to skip our turn, and give our opponents the choice of if they want to skip their turn, they can, or if they want to suffer all of these negative side effects in their upkeep, they can choose that option instead. Either way, we are at least giving them the choice and letting them make their own decisions. And then finally, we get to our last theme of the deck, which is going to sound a little bit weird considering we are a Grixis deck, but that is going to be ramp. Because so many of our effects are giant permanents that have to sit on the battlefield and don't do a ton right away, we need to make sure we can get them down as quickly as possible. So we are playing a ton of mana rocks in this deck to try to ramp out our big pieces as quickly as possible. And we are trying to also have some synergies with our mana rocks. So for example, we have Patriarch's Seal, which is a 3-mana artifact that can tap for a mana of any color, but you can also pay 1 and tap it to untap a legendary creature you control. So not only is this going to help us ramp into some of our bigger pieces, it's also a way to untap Obeka and also synergize with the rest of our deck. So those are all of our themes for this week. And the next thing I want to do is take a look at some key cards in the deck. And these are cards that really synergize with what we're trying to do, and in a lot of cases can be win conditions or value engines all on their own. So starting off, our first key card is going to be Gibbering Descent, which is 4 black for an enchantment. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player loses a life and discards a card. But it also has Hellbent, which if we have no cards in hand, we get to skip our upkeep, and it has Madness for 2 black. This doesn't initially look very powerful, just forcing each player to lose a life and discard a card. But keep in mind, almost every single one of our cards that we really care about in this deck wants us to do something negative in our upkeep. Gibbering Descent is, as far as I'm aware, the only card that I've been able to find that allows us to skip our own upkeep, meaning we can put all of these triggers on the stack for our opponents, and as long as we can make sure we have no cards in hand, we never have to worry about Gibbering Descent because we're not going to have an upkeep. And so none of our negative effects will hit us, and they become completely one-sided, and at that point, we probably win the game as we just slowly grind out the rest of the table. Moving on to our second key card, this one is Fate Spinner. And Fate Spinner is 1 blue for a 1/2 human wizard. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player chooses draw step, main phase, or combat phase, and then that player skips each instance of the chosen step or phase this turn. So if our opponents skip their draw step, they don't get to draw a card. They skip combat, they don't get to attack. They skip their main phase, they cannot play anything other than instants. So this is a very powerful card for a number of different reasons. One is it messes with the general gameplay of Magic and of Commander in general, because if our opponents are expecting to have their draw step, main phase, and combat, it means that they now have to play slightly differently than the way they expect, and that alone might be enough to get us a win. Additionally, it only affects our opponents. This does not impact us. We do still get all 3 of our steps and phases, but our opponents will not, putting us at a pretty significant advantage. Moving on to our final key card of the deck, this one is going to be Leyline of Anticipation, which won't look like too much initially, but let me explain a little bit. It is 2 blue for an enchantment. If it is in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield, and you may cast non-land cards as though they had flash. Because our main intent with this deck is to get a ton of negative upkeep effects into play and then start skipping our own turn, Leyline of Anticipation still gives us the ability to play our deck. We're still able to cast our creatures and cast our spells and put ourselves in a position where we may not necessarily be hitting our land drops, but we can always cast a bunch of our mana rocks and still continue to play the game, while the rest of our opponents are slowly whittled out of the game. So despite it not being super flashy, which pun intended on that one, it's still very important to the general strategy of the deck. So those are all of our key cards for this week, and the next thing I want to do is take a look at some cool interactions in the deck. And these are cards that really synergize with what we're trying to do, and in a lot of cases are fun cards that I want to highlight that don't really fit into any of our other categories that we've mentioned. So the first pair of cards I want to talk about are Magus of the Abyss and Thieving Amalgam. Magus of the Abyss is a part of a sub-theme that we have going on in the deck. It is 3 and a black for a 4/3 human wizard. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, destroy target non-artifact creature that player controls of their choice. It can't be regenerated. Now, we have a couple of effects like this in the deck. We have things that destroy non-elves and non-zombies, and most of the time, they will affect us as well. So we want to make sure we have something like Thieving Amalgam to negate a lot of those effects. And Thieving Amalgam is 5 black for a 6/7 ape snake. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, you manifest the top card of that player's library, and whenever a creature you control but don't own dies, its owner loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So the way that this is going to work for us is we get to manifest 3 cards for our 3 opponents, and in our upkeep we have to destroy a non-artifact creature. The manifests are not artifact creatures, so we are able to destroy one of the manifests, trigger the amalgam, make their owner lose 2 life, we get to gain 2 life, and we didn't destroy one of our own creatures. Plus, this is a repeatable effect. We will always be replacing these manifests, so this is a phenomenal way to really put ourselves ahead of the rest of the table and put ourselves in a position where we don't have to worry about our upkeep effects while the rest of the table does. So, moving on to our next cool interaction. This one is Quicksilver Fountain and Bottomless Pit. And this one, they don't synergize specifically together, but they synergize in a way that really highlights how this deck functions, so I wanted to make sure to highlight this. Quicksilver Fountain is 3 mana for an artifact. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player puts a flood counter on target non-island land they control. That land is an island as long as it has a flood counter on it, and at the end of turn, if all lands in play are islands, then you remove all flood counters from them. Bottomless Pit is 1 black for an enchantment. During each player's upkeep, that player discards a card at random. So both of these are pretty powerful hate pieces, and I wanted to highlight them because if you're playing in a pod that doesn't really care for these style of effects, then this deck may not be for your playgroup, because it really does try to hate on everything your opponents are doing, including, with Quicksilver Fountain, effectively getting rid of their lands. Because yes, they can still tap for blue, but if they're playing a Rakdos deck or some other deck that doesn't have blue in it, they are now struggling to be able to cast their spells, but there's not much they're going to be able to do about it because they won't have the mana to cast their removal and getting rid of the fountain. And that gets even more difficult combined with Bottomless Pit, because they're going to start discarding cards at random. So even if they have the ability to remove it, there is a chance they discard it even when they don't want to. So this really starts to shut down the rest of the table and put them in a position where they really just cannot do much, and it makes our Obeka offers that much more enticing, especially when we continue to skip our own turn and get around these style of effects. But with that being said, that brings us to the end of our cool interaction section, and normally this would be the point when we jump into the price of the video, but before we get to that, I have one quick mention of the game changers in this deck, because there is one single game changer in here, and it is Braid's Cabal Minion. So Braids is 2 black for a 2/2 legendary creature human minion. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices an artifact, creature, or land. Braids is very famous in Commander, or I suppose I should use the word infamous given the fact that she was banned at one point, but she really does kind of hinder the playstyle of the entire table if you can get her down early enough. Because if you drop her on, say, turn 2 because you happened to get a Soul Ring, then she really starts to eat away at your opponent's lands, makes it so that there's really not much they can do, and that does lead to some unfun games. However, we're not building our deck in that way. We have no real reason to want to drop Braids early. She's definitely one of those pieces we want to hit the board once we are ready and are set up to start skipping turns with Obeka. So even though she is a game changer, I don't think in our deck she is as powerful as she could be, so I think she's perfectly fine here. That, though, now officially does bring us to the end of our deck tech as we get into the price of our deck. And this week we came very close to our budget limit at $99.16, with the most expensive card in the deck being Mana Vortex at a massive $14.01. And Mana Vortex is 1 blue for an enchantment. Each player who controls land sacrifices 1 land during his or her upkeep. If at any time there are no lands in play, Mana Vortex is destroyed. If you do not sacrifice a land when Mana Vortex is cast, Mana Vortex is countered. So this is a lot of weird words and not the way that this card would be worded today, but essentially when you cast it, you have to sacrifice a land or it's immediately countered, and then in each player's upkeep, they sacrifice a land. This is technically land destruction, so be aware of that going into the game, but it is land destruction in a way that is not completely backbreaking for the rest of the table. It's a great way for you to control what's happening, and it's a great way to make sure that no matter what is going on at the table with the rest of our upkeep triggers and everything else, it really does provide an incentive for our opponents to take the Obeka deal and skip their turn, because it means that they get to keep all of their lands, and in some cases, that is quite the powerful incentive. So if you have an additional Mana Vortex laying around or don't mind spending the $14 on it, I do think it is a good include. However, if you are looking to trim a little bit on the price of the deck, you could cut out the Vortex. That drops it down to about $85-ish, which is certainly more manageable than $99. So with that being said, let's move on to, we'll say, an out-of-budget portion of this deck, where we are looking at Noetic Scales coming in for the upgrade and Dreamscape Artist going out for the replacement. Because if we're looking at things outside of our budget limit, we do find Noetic Scales to be a pretty powerful synergy piece, even though it's about $17. And that's because Noetic Scales is 4 mana for an artifact that says during each player's upkeep, return to its owner's hand each creature that player controls with power greater than the number of cards in their hand. So if, for example, they have 0 cards in hand, they would return every creature with 0 or more power, or I suppose it's just greater, not greater or equal to, so they get to keep their walls. 1 or more would return to hand. And that is backbreaking for some decks at the table, especially if they're a go-wide token deck and we can run them out of cards. Now all of a sudden, they just have no way to build up a board presence. And once everything's bounced back to hand, it becomes very difficult to redeploy everything, especially with some of our other hate pieces. Because if we're shutting off your lands, we're making you discard cards, there's not much you can do to get out from under the Noetic Scales. So a very powerful piece, but definitely a bit of a, stacks is kind of a strong word, but very strong on that level. And so if you're putting in the Noetic Scales, you do of course have to take a card out, which I would recommend being Dreamscape Artist. It's 1 and a blue for a 1/1 human spell shaper. You can pay 2 and a blue, tap it, discard a card, sacrifice a land, and search your library for 2 basic lands, put them onto the battlefield, then shuffle. So originally, this was in here because it's a ramp piece. We're in Grixis. It's a great way to get more lands in, or at least an okay way to get more lands in. And it's also an instant speed way to put more lands into play, meaning that if we were in a situation where we were skipping our turn every single turn, we are still technically hitting our land drops. Now, the problem with that becomes the fact that we're really not drawing cards in that situation. And if we're not drawing cards, we don't have a ton of cards to discard. It really just kind of falls short, and I wasn't very impressed with it when I was testing out the deck. So I keep trying this card in a bunch of decks, and I keep recommending it get cut, so it just may not be the card for me. But if you have any success stories for Dreamscape Artist, I would love to hear them, so please put them in the comments. I'd love to hear someone defend this card, because I keep trying it, and it just is not working for me. So that is my suggestion for your out-of-budget upgrade, and, of course, our deck tech as a whole. So before we jump into a game with this deck, because of course we gotta see how this deck is going to perform, I do want to take a second to shout out some of our current patrons and channel members. A huge thank you to everyone who is supporting the channel, and also a huge thank you to everyone who is just watching the videos, liking the videos, subscribing to the channel. All of that stuff really does help out a lot, and I do appreciate everyone who's involved in this channel. With that shout out of the way though, let's move on to our first game of the video. And yes, you heard me right. First, we are going to have 2 total. Only one of them, this first one's going to be edited down. The other one is just going to run as it pleases. But our first game, we have 3 opponents, with Elsha, Threefold Master, being played by Mort, Anakthea, Hand of Erebos, being played by Jason, and Marchesa the Black Rose, being played by Cole. Starting off with Elsha and Mort's build, this is definitely a non-creature focused deck. He really just wants to start swinging Elsha as quickly as possible, make a ton of monks, start swinging those monks, make more monks, make them big with prowess, and just kind of get out of hand, which I think is a very fun and unique style for monks in particular. And I've always been a big fan of Elsha from her original printing down to this one, so I'm excited to see what Mort can do. Moving on to our second opponent in Jason with Anakthea. This is an Enchantress style deck, but it's also a graveyard focused deck, which I think is a very unique blend of synergies. And Anakthea brings a lot to the table that you don't see in normal aristocrat style decks because you're sacrificing enchantments, but also things you don't see in your typical Enchantress decks because you're sacrificing your enchantments. So it incentivizes you to have enchantments that trigger when they enter or leave the battlefield, maybe have ways to get themselves into the graveyard. It incentivizes mill. It's just a really cool strategy, and it's one that Jason has done a very well with in the past, so I am definitely concerned about this deck going into this. And then, of course, last but not least, we have Cole playing Marchesa the Black Rose. And I think out of all the decks at the table, this is probably the one I'm the most concerned about. I understand from Cole that this is a pretty well-tuned Marchesa list, which is a terrifying prospect because Marchesa is incredibly powerful, but it really does focus on +1/+1 counters and sacrifice synergies, because if he can get counters on his creatures, he can then sacrifice them for value and then bring them back to do it again. So it's definitely a bit of a mix between aristocrats and also kind of life loss, because he really wants to make sure he's never at the highest life total so he can always get that dethrone trigger. So overall, I think that's the deck I'm the most concerned about. But let me know down in the comments if you have a prediction for this game. Who do you think may walk out the winner? I always love to hear what people think. But let's jump into this game, and I will talk to you all once it's done. At the start of the game, Mort goes first, followed by myself, Jason, and then Cole. On Mort's first turn, he plays a Wandering Fumarole. I play a Temple of Deceit, scrying 1. Jason plays a Plains and casts Soul Ring. Cole plays a Watery Grave untapped, paying 2 life, and cast Mausoleum Wanderer, which gets +1/+1 until the end of turn whenever another spirit enters under his control, and it can also be sacrificed to counter an instant or sorcery unless its controller pays mana value equal to the Wanderer's power. Mort plays a command tower and casts Azorius Signet. I play a Scavenger Grounds and cast an Arcane Signet. Jason plays a Ghostly Prison, making each opponent pay 2 mana to attack him, then also plays a Golgari Rot Farm, returning a Plains to his hand. Cole plays a Sulphur Falls, casts a Soul Ring, and uses that to cast Night's Whisper, drawing 2 cards and losing 2 life. Mort plays a Mountain and casts his commander Elsha Threefold Master, which has prowess and lets Mort create a number of 1/1 monk tokens with prowess equal to the combat damage Elsha deals to a player. I play a Mountain and cast Patriarch's Seal, which can be activated to untap target legendary creature. Then I also cast Swiftfoot Boots. Jason plays a Plains and casts Cemetery Tampering, hiding away a card and now milling 3 cards in his upkeep, being able to cast the hidden card if there are 20 or more cards in his graveyard. After that, he casts a Fear of Surveillance, which surveils 1 whenever it attacks. Cole plays a Drowned Catacombs and casts his commander, Marchesa the Black Rose, giving his creatures Dethrone, and if a creature he controls with a +1/+1 counter on it dies, it returns to play in the next end step under his control. Finally, he attacks me with Mausoleum Wanderer, putting a +1/+1 counter on it and hitting me for 2. Mort plays an Island and attacks Cole for 1 with Elsha, but before damage, casts Monstrous Rage, enchanting her with a monster roll token so she has trample, and gets a total of +4/+2, hitting Cole for 5 and making 7 monk tokens. On my turn, I play a Mountain and cast my commander, Obeka Brute Chronologist, which can tap to let the player whose turn it is choose to end the turn. Then I immediately equip her with the Swiftfoot Boots and give her haste and hexproof. In Jason's upkeep, he mills 3 cards, then plays a forest and casts Starfield Mystic, making his enchantments cost 1 less to cast and putting a +1/+1 counter on it whenever an enchantment is put into his graveyard from the battlefield. Then he attacks me for 2 with Fear of Surveillance, surveilling 1, and I block with Obeka, killing the fear, so Jason puts a counter on the Mystic. Cole plays a Mountain and casts Unspeakable Symbol, letting him pay 3 life to put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. He also casts a Goblin Bombardment, letting him sacrifice a creature to do 1 damage to any target. Finally, Cole attacks Mort with Mausoleum Wanderer, putting a +1/+1 counter on it and hitting him for 3. On Mort's turn, he moves straight to combat, paying 2 to attack Jason with Elsha, attacking me with 3 monk tokens, and attacking Cole with 2 monk tokens. Cole and I each block a token with our commanders, killing them, then Jason and I take 2, Cole takes 1, and Mort takes 2, then Mort makes 2 more monk tokens. In his second main phase, he plays a Plains, and in his end step, I activate Obeka, asking Mort if he'd like to end his own turn. He agrees, and ends his turn. On my turn, I play a Desert of the Fervent and cast Fire Diamond, and I also cast Eorith of the Healing House, which can tap to untap another target permanent or 2 other target legendary creatures. Then I equip her with the Swiftfoot Boots, giving her hexproof and haste. In Jason's upkeep, he mills 3, plays a Murmuring Bosk, and casts his commander, Anakhthea Hand of Erebos, giving his enchantment creatures menace, and whenever she enters or attacks, letting Jason exile an enchantment from his graveyard to make a token copy of it, except it's also a 3/3 zombie. With this trigger, he exiles Mirari's Wake from his graveyard, creating a 3/3 copy of it, which gives all his creatures +1/+1, and lets his lands tap for an additional mana. Once that's resolved, he casts an Aegis of the Gods, giving himself hexproof, and then passes. Cole casts a Read the Bones, scrying 2, drawing 2, and losing 2 life. He then plays an island and attacks Mort with Mausoleum Wanderer, putting a +1/+1 counter on it and hitting him for 4. Then in his second main phase, Cole casts a Grim Haruspex, which lets him draw a card whenever another creature he controls dies. Mort cast a Tygam Master Opportunist, letting him copy the second spell he cast each turn, and exiling the original with 4 time counters, giving it Suspend. Then he attacks me for 3 with Elsha and a Monk, and attacks Cole for 4 with the rest of the monks. I block Elsha with Eorith, and Cole blocks 2 monks and Marchesa and Grim Haruspex. Before damage, Mort casts Kabira Takedown, doing 7 damage to Jason's Mirari's Wake, since Mort controls 7 creatures. Kabira Takedown is then exiled with 4 time counters on it. After that, he also casts Temur Battle Rage, giving Elsha double strike and trample, while Cole pays 6 life to put a counter on the Haruspex and Marchesa. Finally, damage happens, so Eorith, Grim Haruspex, and 2 monk tokens die, while I take 7, Cole takes 0, and Mort makes 4 monks. Notably, there is a moment where I try to give Mort a chance to avoid violence. I'm going to tap Obeka. Mort, would you like to end the turn?
No, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to use Ireth to untap Obeka. Mort, I'm going to give you a second chance. Would you like to end the turn?
I will still pass. I will pass.
Unfortunately, though, he denies my attempt at peace. At the end of turn, Cole returns Grim Haruspex to play with Marchesa, and Mort also remembers to play his land for the turn, playing a Path of Ancestry. On my turn, I play a Swamp and cast Mana Vortex, sacrificing Desert of the Fervent when it enters, and now forcing each player to sacrifice a land in their upkeep. I also cast Fate Stitcher, which can tap to tap or untap target permanent, and I equip it with the Swiftfoot Boots, giving it hexproof and haste. In Jason's upkeep, he sacrifices a forest and mills himself for 3. Then, he attacks me for 4 with Anakthea, exiling Battle at the Hell Vault, creating a 3/3 copy of it and exiling a non-land permanent for each player until the saga leaves the battlefield, choosing to exile Elsha, Mana Vortex, and Marchesa. Before his commander is exiled though, Cole sacrifices her to do 1 damage to one of Mort's monks, killing it. Then in his second main phase, Jason casts Sphere of Safety, making each player pay 6 to attack him since he currently controls 6 enchantments. Finally, he plays an Evolving Wilds and immediately sacrifices it to search his library for a Plains, putting it into play tapped, and, at the end of turn, Cole returns Marchesa from his graveyard to the battlefield. On Cole's turn, he plays a Mana Confluence, casts a Treasonous Ogre, letting him pay 3 life to make a red mana. Then he casts a Demonic Tutor, searching his library for a card and putting it into his hand, which then lets him pay 18 life to add 6 red mana and cast Repay in Kind, setting each player's life total to the lowest among all players, which, thanks to the Treasonous Ogre, is now 3. Mort recasts his commander Elsha, and then at the end of turn, I activate Obeka so Mort can choose to end his turn, which he does. On my turn, I cast Price of Knowledge, giving each player no maximum hand size, and, in each opponent's upkeep, doing damage to them equal to the number of cards in their hand. In Jason's upkeep, he mills 3 and then takes 1 damage since he has 1 card in hand. Then his saga triggers, exiling Tygam and Price of Knowledge. After that resolves, Jason goes to combat, attacking me for 4 with Anakthea, exiling Grasp of Fate from his graveyard and making a 3/3 copy of it. When it enters, it exiles a permanent for each player, exiling a monk token, my Swiftfoot Boots, and Mausoleum Wanderer. In response, Cole sacrifices the Wanderer, but still before damage, I block Anakthea with both of my creatures, killing Obeka, but meaning I don't lose the game. Notably, I do also give Jason the chance to accept peace by tapping Obeka to end his turn, but he denies my offer. In his second main phase, Jason cast Idyllic Tutor, searching his library for an enchantment, Ghoulish Impetus, putting it into his hand, and then casting it, enchanting Elsha so she gets +1/+1 Death Touch and is goated. Cole cast a Professional Facebreaker, making a treasure token whenever he deals combat damage to an opponent. This lets him attack Mort with the Mausoleum Wanderer and attack me with Marchesa and Grim Haruspects, putting a +1/+1 counter on each of them. This means that even after I block Marchesa with Fate Stitcher, killing it, I still take 3 damage, knocking me out of the game. Before damage, Mort cast Deflecting Palm, meaning the Mausoleum Wanderer would do damage to Cole instead of Mort, but Cole has an answer, countering the spell with Counterspell, so Mort still takes 2. In his second main phase, Cole is able to sacrifice 4 creatures to do 1 damage to Aegis of the Gods, killing it, 1 damage to Mort, knocking him out of the game, and 2 damage to Jason, knocking him out as well, winning Cole the game. Alright, so that first game was super cool. Our deck definitely did what we wanted it to do. We just couldn't quite get rolling, but that's not the only showcase I have for this deck this week. We actually have a second game ready to go. However, you'll notice we only have 2 opponents in this game. This was originally going to be a 4-player game, but we did have a player drop out at the last minute, and so I figured rather than let the game go to waste with just the 3 of us, I figured might as well show it off, but we can just kind of play the whole thing. It wasn't super long, it was a very fun game to be sure, but let's talk about our opponents and then we can check this game out as well. So starting off, we have Avatar Aang being played by Bilal, which does eventually transform into Aang, Master of Elements. This is just a bending style deck. He wants to do the earth bending, air bending, water bending, and fire bending, so he can flip his commander, he can draw a ton of cards, and it kind of is just a value engine with the Avatar cards, which I'm very excited for. I love the Avatar set, so I'm very interested to see what Bilal's got cooked up here. And then our other opponent for this game is Jason playing Lord Windgrace. And this is definitely a lands style deck. He wants to play as many lands as possible, and then also return those lands from his graveyard to the battlefield, whether it's through discarding, milling, or sacrificing to get them there in the first place. And just like a lot of other decks that Jason plays, the commander itself is very powerful, but the synergies he's putting into it that involve the graveyard are what I'm more concerned about. So this should be a fun game. Like I said, only 3 players this time, so it's a little bit on the shorter side, but definitely still very entertaining and very much worth it. I had a ton of fun in this game. So let's jump into it, and I will talk to you all once it's done.
We're good.
All
Now.
right.
Oh, I'm last? Bullshit.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, redo it.
Nope. Desert.
I'm kidding. It's crap.
All right. It is a trap. I'll play Prairie Stream tapped and say go.
Oh, look at that. That's a land card. Rocky Tar Pit is a enter the battlefield tap fetch land. Go ahead.
Okay. I will play a mountain and an Is It Signet. And I will pass.
All right.
Is it
Draw. I will play a swamp. Let's go.
Oh, that's pretty good, I guess. I'm gonna crack this for a shock land, and I'm gonna shock in Elvish or play Elvish Reclaimer for 1 green, and then I'm going to play this Twisted Landscape, and I'm gonna go get my land. I'm done.
Sounds good.
Yep, there it is, and I'm at whatchamacallit, 38. Bam.
I will play an island. And then I'll tap 2 for a Mind Stone. And then we'll tap 3 for a Furnace Punisher. It's a 3/3 at the beginning of each player's upkeep. They take 2 damage unless they control 2 or more basic lands.
I'm gonna go ahead and fetch for this too while I'm here. I'm gonna get another basic force.
Zach, are you passing?
Yeah, I'm good after that. I have no black mana yet, though, so...
Okay.
You've done a lot.
I have
2
done
turns.
a lot, yeah.
Well, 3.
I'll play a command tower. I will pay 3 for Firelord Zuko.
Ooh.
Is that a new card? That is
It's a new card. I'll pass.
That's the
do
Mardu
anything.
one, right?
Yeah. This is half of my cards. I don't know what they do yet.
I don't know any. I don't have no idea.
Did
what they do
you...
with our
Sorry,
cards.
Bilal, did you take 2 in your upkeep?
I will.
Oh, are
Okay.
we doing that?
Jason,
your
you
card
taking
does?
2 in your upkeep? Bop.
All right.
Unless you got 2 basics.
I have 1. About to have 2. About to have 2 with the Mountain, and then I'm gonna pay green, red for Yavimaya Elder, and I'll attack. Ooh, no, you guys have stuff out there now. How big's that thing, Zach?
3/3.
3/3, and how big is yours, Bilal?
2-4.
All right, I'm done. Can't even attack into it.
I will... 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna cast this Fate Stitcher. I can tap to untap to tap or untap another permanent.
That feels like a combo piece.
It
Nah.
sure does.
Yeah.
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 And then I will pass.
Okay. I'll tap upkeep. I'll take 2 more. Drop.
Gotta get you some basics below.
I'm about to, Zach. Of course. Now I have
There
my
you
2
go.
basics.
You're all
There
set.
you go.
Sure. I'll use the swap to play a Soul Ring. And then I'll use the Soul Ring and 3 other mana to cast Aang at the Crossroads. When it enters, I look at the top 5 cards on my library, and I may put a creature card with mana 4 or less among them onto the battlefield, and I put the rest on the bottom of my library under random order. If a creature leaves my battlefield, he transforms.
There's a lot of words.
That is
I
a
know.
lot of words.
I'm probably going to whiff.
I don't know what you're doing.
I'm looking at the top 5 on my library, and that's a big old whiff.
Power 4 or less, really? Huh.
Yeah. The only creature I had in there was a Morophon.
Yeah, that is not
Yeah.
4 or less.
Yeah, I was gonna. That's not 4 or less.
It's not. I'll pass.
No attacking. All right. Did not attack Zach. I see. I'll tap 3 for this random map excavator. I can play cards from or land cards from my library or graveyard. You guys know the deal, so we'll play out this Twisted Landscape for land for turn. And I will fetch and be done.
Okay.
But a basic swamp, I reckon.
Alright. That's something. I am going to play this Dimir Aqueduct. I'm going to float a blue and return an island to my hand. Then I'm going to tap this Fate Stitcher to untap the Dimir Aqueduct.
Look at you. Big brain plays.
2, 3, 4, cast Obeka.
She's the one who gives you double upkeep, right?
No, so this is the one that I can tap her, and the player whose turn it is may
and-
end the turn.
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay.
And I will pass.
Okay. Tap upkeep draw. Alright. I will play Dream Halls. I'll tap 2 to cast Lightning Greaves. I'll pay 4 4 to play my commander.
I have a response to your commander below.
Sure.
I'm going to Arcane Denial it.
That's okay.
That's too much card draw.
That is okay. I will go pass.
All right.
Actually, no, I'll equip Zuko with
Yeah,
Lightning Greaves.
There you go. You pass, then you're gonna attack.
No, I'll pass.
All right.
On your upkeep, I draw 2.
And I'll
Do you
draw
really?
1.
Yep.
How's that?
Arcane Denial.
Arcane Denial.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. It's been so long because I've played played Magic. All right, so I will pay Trace for this is a new one. Horizons Explorer, lands you control enter untapped. So that's important because I can play this Rocky Tar Pit for my graveyard per the excavator, and it comes out untapped, which is kind of neat. And then I will go get a black source. And then with that black source and this green source, I will play the Wraith of the Reliquary. It's Vigilance, and it gets +1/+1 for each creature card in my graveyard, which is irrelevant here. The relevant part is I can tap him, sacrifice another creature, search my library for a land card, and put it in the battlefield tapped. And I will be done. You'll get my black source.
Okay. Untap. We're gonna.
And then also for the Explorer, whenever you attack a player, I create a lander token. Oh, I should have attacked.
I'm gonna tap 2 with the Aqueduct, and then actually untap it again. Tap another 2, and 1 for a Necrogoyf.
End of turn. I don't know, what does that do?
Its power is equal to the number of creature cards in all graveyards. And then at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player discards a card.
Ooh. Okay.
And then we're gonna play this Temple of Malice, and I'll scry 1. We don't want that. And I will pass. Just so everyone knows, if you don't want to discard a card, you just let me know and we can end your turn.
Sounds fantastic.
I think Bilal wants stuff in his graveyard.
Fantastic.
No.
Passing?
Yeah, you're good.
Alright, untap, upkeep. I'll discard a Sun Warriors. It's a Firebender. Draw. Ah, okay. I'll shock in a Godless Shrine.
Pew pew.
I'll pay 6 for my commander. Any responses?
Yeah.
Alright, I want to equip him with the Lightning Greaves. Zach, do you have any flyers?
No.
Okay. I'll poke you for 4 in the air, firebending, getting 2 mana. I'll draw a card.
Yep.
So firebending gives you mana
Yeah.
equal to whatever the cost is, I guess, or
Yes.
Yeah.
Excuse me. With that firebending mana and 1 swamp, I will cycle Indatha Triumph, drawing myself a card. And I'll pass.
I thought the game was going to end there.
Yeah. Felt
It's
like
not
it.
that type of deck.
I got to discard, right, Zach?
Yep.
Through my upkeep.
Yep.
I will discard this Warm Harvest that has Retrace. So I'm okay with that. Oh, I like that card. That's a good card. I'm going to pay 5 for Lord Windgrace.
Yep.
And then I'll get dice in a second. But I will immediately, I think, discard. Yeah, I'm going to take him up to 7. Discard a card. Then draw a card. If it was a land, I draw 2 cards. So I'm gonna draw 2 cards.
Nice.
And I will play out of my library. Actually, hold on. I can attack now. I sure can. Because I have 3 or more land cards in my graveyard. The Reclaimer gets +2/+2, so he is a 3/4. I will attack Bilal with a 3/4.
I will block with Zuko.
Uh-huh.
Zuko will die.
Okay.
And then at the beginning,
I thought Zuko was a 2/4.
Oh, is
it's
it?
a 2/4.
Oh, so
Oh,
my
it's a
guy's only
3/4?
3/4. It's
Oh,
3/4.
never mind. Zuko lives.
Oh, yeah. You take 3?
Why do I take 3?
No, he blocks.
Are you blocking? Oh, you blocked. Yeah, you're blocked.
Yeah.
You're done. I'm dumb. I am dumb, and I am going to play from my graveyard a land, because I've not done that yet. I will play this Rocky Tar Pit, and I will be done. I'll get some dice.
Okay. I'm gonna at the end of your turn. I'm gonna sacrifice my Mind Stone to draw a card.
Nice.
Then
End
I'll
your turn.
untap. Upkeep. I'm gonna discard this island, and then draw. Bilal, I don't like what you're doing. You're gonna
have
flip that
3
thing.
creatures.
I can't stop it.
How am I gonna flip it?
You're gonna flip it. I'm gonna kill something. That's how you're gonna flip it.
Okay. Go ahead and kill it.
3, 4, 5. I'm gonna cast this Call to the Grave.
Okay.
At the beginning of each player's upkeep, they sacrifice a non-zombie creature.
Ooh.
And then
Oh, I was supposed to create a land token, or a lander token when I attacked you, Bilal, for the Explorer.
gonna play an Is It Boilerworks, and I will bounce this mountain to my hand.
Okay. Passing?
Yes. Yep. So upkeep,
Alright,
discard a card, and then sack a non-zombie creature.
I'll discard Flexible Waterbender, and I'll sacrifice Zuko.
I was like, you helping that guy?
And then,
I think it's at end step.
at next upkeep.
Upkeep.
So it'll be on Jason's upkeep. Upkeep draw. I will go to combat. Zach, I'm going to poke you for 4 in the air.
Yep.
I firebend, so I draw a card. I will play a Water Grave tap. Excuse me. Okay. I'm just looking.
My offer to end the turn in your upkeep still stands, by the way. Just saying.
The
in
whole
case-
turn, huh? Just the whole turn, right?
No,
Just
like,
end it.
all I'm saying is if you don't want to discard a card and sack a creature, I got you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll pay 5 on my second main phase to cast Boomy Unleashed. When he enters, I Earthbend 4.
So you have
I'll
4 mana.
Earthbend my Soul Ring. It's a 4/4 creature.
Okay. Earthbend is the turns lands into creatures.
Yes.
Yeah,
Is that end of turn? Or is that permanent?
permanent.
It's permanent.
Okay, that's fair.
And if
And
the
if it
creature
dies-
land dies, it comes back.
Or gets
wow.
exiled.
Yeah.
I drew
Okay.
a card.
Okay,
Um,
that's really good.
it is. I will pass.
Untap. Upkeep. Discard a card, and
Actually, hold on. I'm sorry.
you're fine. I haven't done anything. You got 3 mana.
I know.
And some
I
dude.
can't do everything I want to do, so I'll pass.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No worries. Untap. So discard a card.
And sack a non-zombie creature. Unless you want me to end the turn.
No, I'll discard this Farhaven Elf, which is totally fine. And I'll sacrifice this Yavimaya Elder that when it dies, I may search my library for up to 2 basic land cards, reveal them, and put them in my hand.
Very nice.
So
Seems
I'll
good.
do that all my upkeep before I even draw for the turn. You didn't even know you were helping me and Bilal with our entire game plan. Where's my non-forest
For
spacing?
now.
Says, oh, I have a forest. Nope, like I said, I have a forest. That's fine. All right.
Below you transform Aang.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
You transform your dude, right?
Oh, yeah, I do. You're right.
All right, that was all my upkeep, and I'll draw for turn. These are in my hand. Aha, that's a decent draw. I will uptick Windgrace to 3. I will discard this forest, and I'll draw 2 cards. How much mana this guy can draw or produce, or card draw this guy produces.
Windgrace?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Do you have any flyers, Jason?
No, but you might not though. Oh no, you guys grieved up, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
What's the flip side of old boy do over there?
A lot. He gives me a mini omniscience.
No, the one I just flipped.
Oh, at the beginning of my combat, at the beginning of combat on my turn, I earthbend 2. Land creatures I control have vigilance.
Okay, so he makes one of your lands into a creature, basically.
Yes.
I gotcha. That's fair. Oh no, I might have a flyer. Actually, I will have a flyer. So I will do. Stop looking at my hand. Red, green, black, and these 2. And I will play Corvold, Phage Curse King. When he enters the battlefield, I have to sacrifice a non-land permanent. I'll sacrifice his lander token. And I'll draw a card, and then he will get a token. I'll play this forest for turn. I will pay 1 for a Yavimaya Scout. I will sacrifice the Scout to the Wraith to get a land card, which will trigger Corvold. That's going to get a counter, and I will draw a card. And then I'll go get a land card and put it into the battlefield tapped.
Okay.
Sheesh.
Although, since the Explorer says lands enter untapped, but his ability specifically says tapped, I'm guessing it still comes in play tapped, right?
And then untaps, I believe.
Well, his says it has to come into play tapped. I don't know how those interact.
I think it's a layers thing. I think you can have it enter tapped and then.
Then it untaps?
I think so.
Okay,
I'm not 100% sure.
Well, if that's the consensus, then I will get this Lotus Field, which will enter the battlefield. I have to sacrifice 2 lands. I will sacrifice this forest and this swamp. That will trigger Corvold twice. So he'll get 2 more counters going to 4, and I'll draw a card. 2 cards.
Draw 2 cards.
Seems good.
Zach, I don't think I'm your problem.
I don't think anyone's the problem.
I think Jason's the problem.
I'm trying to become the problem. I really am. I'm trying to become a problem. I've played a land for turn. Yes, I have played land for turn. I have 3/4 mana if I want it. I like that. I like 4 mana. I will tap this for 3. We'll say it's a green, and then I'll fetch out a whatever here in a second. Actually, that matters because I got to do the Corvold shit. Damn it. We'll just get, I guess this forest. Do I have anything else that's not a forest? Sorry, guys. I'm trying to play a little bit faster.
No, you're
It's
good.
okay.
I'm trying to find a... There we go. There's a swamp. And that will trigger Corvold, so he'll get a thing, and I'll draw a card. Yep. So I will play out this Sowing Milespawn. I didn't kick it, so that doesn't matter. But when I cast this spell, search my library for a land card and put it in the battlefield, then shuffle. So I will do that. And who would have guessed it? It will be Field of the Dead.
Jesus.
That makes
As soon as I
sense.
find it. As soon as I find it. It is in here somewhere. I promise I own it. And then there it is. And if I control 7 or more lands with different names, is it 7?
Yeah, it's 7.
Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. No. Mountain, this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I only control 6. And I will be done after that.
Okay.
I got discard to hand size.
Upkeep, I'm going to sack the Furnace Punisher and discard a mountain. Okay.
Want that? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I will discard Wooded Foothills.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5. I will tap 5.
Now I gotta discard another card. God dang it. I will discard Yorok the Scourge, whatever.
I'm gonna cast a Ruthless Winnower. It says at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices a non-elf creature.
Okay.
I don't think anybody from Avatar is an elf.
Yeah, I can target this with all of the triggers.
Well, no, that you don't target. You just
I can
sacrifice.
choose.
Not for both of them.
I think I can.
No. Because you don't choose the one until it resolves. It would be different if you had to target.
Read it. Please.
At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices a non-elf creature. Or a non-zombie creature. So they'll go on the stack, you'll sacrifice the land, and then the next one, when it resolves, you have to pick again.
Sacrifice the land.
His land.
The artifact. Oh, shit.
Oh.
I can't do Soul Ring. It has to be a land. You're right. Because Toph is not out.
Yeah. Then I'm going to tap 3, and I'm going to cast a Bottomless Pit. During each player's upkeep, that player discards a card at random.
Oh, gosh. I like these cards, Zach.
So for those counting,
Well,
in your upkeep, you now sacrifice 2 creatures and discard 2 cards, one of which is at random.
Or you can end the turn.
Or you could choose to end the turn, is all I'm saying.
That's all you're saying.
That's all I'm saying.
I don't like your deck, Zach.
You can end the turn.
You can choose to not deal with these upkeep triggers below.
This is end the turn. The hell. Very flavorful.
I'm gonna pass.
All right. Untap, upkeep. As those 2 things go on the stack, I can respond to them and make one of your permanents disappear, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. What is doing what?
I have. So these two are discard. These two are sacrifice.
Creatures.
Which one is the random discard? Is it a creature?
It's an
It's a
enchantment.
Yeah.
It's an enchantment.
I have one of each. I have one sacrifice and one discard on an enchantment, and then one sacrifice, one discard on a creature.
Okay. This is how I will respond. I'm gonna pay. I'll tap, and I'll tap. On my upkeep, I'm going to flash in Egg Swift Savior. I will airbend the one that says I have to sacrifice an elf. Non-elf, sorry.
Okay.
I'll draw a card.
But they're still in the stack, so you still have to
Yeah,
do...
you still have to sacrifice a non-elf.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
Okay.
I'll sacrifice the land. It'll come back. And I have to sacrifice another thing. Let me see what this guy does on the other side. Okay. I'll sacrifice Boomy. And then, Zach, pick a card at random. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
4.
4 is Yue the Moon Spirit.
Okay.
Goes to the graveyard. And I'll draw.
So far you've airbend, but you haven't firebend. You haven't done the other ones yet, right?
I've only airbent.
Yeah.
Did
this
you...
turn.
You still sacked 2 creatures and discarded 2
I
cards?
did. Oh, let me discard the other card. I'll discard Waterbender Ascension. Okay. I will play Realm of Ko. Hold on 1 second.
Hello? Your Pharaoh God has returned. If you can guess the card, Zach.
Is that the flavor text of a card in your hand?
It is, yeah. Otherwise I wouldn't know it.
You said your feral god?
Your Pharaoh God has returned.
Oh, your pharaoh god has returned? Is it
Don't Google it.
is it God Pharaoh's return?
That's a good guess.
Okay, so I'm going to do something. I'm going to go to combat. At the beginning of combat, I'll earthbend my land. I'll draw a card. It's a 2/2. I will... Zach, do you have flyers?
No.
Okay. I will pay attack and poke you for 4. I'll fireband, draw a card. And only thing I need to do is waterbend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I will waterbend 8 to waterband Aang Swift Savior. I'll draw a card. So I have Earth, Fire, Water, and Air bent this turn.
So he flips.
He'll flip. I'll draw a card. Okay. And he's going to flip into Aang, Master of Elements. My spells cost Woober less to cast.
Hell yeah.
All right. I'm going to play Monk Gyatso. If you don't stop this, I have infinite 1/1s. I
I
believe
mean, when I'm tapped out.
it doesn't matter.
Okay.
And I'll play Appa Steadfast Guardian.
Well, I was like, it's not that kind of deck.
I know.
You still gotta play the colorless mana though, don't you? To move
No,
on?
I
Yeah.
don't. I do not,
Why
It says it
not?
costs Wooburg less. Not,
sir.
it can reduce the generic costs.
Yes.
That's
Basically,
dumb.
basically anything can cost 5 less.
Yes.
Yeah, gotcha. That's broken.
I'll play this for free. I'll play this for free. I will Earthband. I'll draw a card. And
A creature you control becomes target with spell ability. You airbend that creature.
yeah, so I have Lightning Greaves. I
For
can,
free.
for free, I can equip, and then
Yeah.
I can airband anything essentially. I can keep on drawing cards until I'll have an infinite 1/1 army. Well, I can't continue to draw cards because that ink is gone, but I can still have an infinite 1/1 army. So I actually need to put.
Do they have haste? You've already attacked, right?
Uh, they don't have haste,
So we still get one more turn?
you get one more turn.
Alright.
So I will create infinite 1/1s.
I'll let you choose how the
And-
board state. However the board state will end at the end of your infinite, semi-infinite. You can choose however the board state will look afterwards.
Yes.
Before you pass.
Okay, hold on. And then I'll cast Patriarch's Bidding for free. Oh, I can't. Damn it.
You can deck yourself.
Good.
I don't draw the cards
Why don't you draw the cards?
because that Aang has flipped.
Oh yeah, you don't need the card draw anymore.
Yep.
If you're upkeep, you may transform Aang. Oh, you can flip them back and forth.
Yes.
Yeah.
So everybody has one. Everyone's got one turn.
I can draw a shit ton of cards.
Okay.
Turn.
I pass.
All right.
Good luck, Jason.
Yeah, I will need it.
So-
I have several upkeep triggers, I think, from you, right, Zach?
Correct. Sack a creature and discard a card, and then discard a card at random.
All right, I'll sacrifice the micro spawn, which will trigger Lord Woodengrace, which draws me a card. And then I'll discard a card at random. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Zach, pick a number.
8.
It was Bajuka Bog. And then no more sacrifice. Oh, that's to discard another card, right? Like a non-random card.
Yes.
I will discard probably Arcane Signet, because I don't give a shit about that one. And then I get to draw for the turn. That wasn't what I needed. I will take up Lord Windgrace. Hold on, can I ultimate Lord Windgrace? That isn't going to matter. I need to draw all of the cards because I need a Torment of Hellfire. Not Torment of Hellfire, but board wipe. Anyway,
Yeah.
take him up to 5. I will discard Jun Panorama, which will give me 2 cards. Who would have thought I would draw lands in my lands deck? I've not played a land yet, but I will play Command Tower, which gets me a zombie. I don't have an infinite number of them, but I do have one. So I can kill your... No, I can't kill your commander because he has a Greaves on him, right?
Yeah.
I can kill that guy, but I don't think that... You've already got the thing, so it doesn't even matter.
Well, if you target anything except Makiatsu, I'll airbend it.
Yeah, no, I can kill him. But I can't kill an infinite number of whatchamacallits.
I'm confident that Zach has the answer because he's remaining awfully quiet.
I have
I'm gonna
2 cards. I
sacrifice
have
the
2 cards in
zombie.
my hand.
Yeah, I'm going to sacrifice a zombie. That's going to trigger Lord Windgrace. I'll get a card. Wonderful. I'll get a land. And it goes into play, not tapped. And I will get a zombie back. Oh my gosh. Does Aang, Master of Elements, fly, Bilal?
He does. I've got 1, 2, Three flyers and one guy with reach.
Is it bigger than an 11-11?
No.
All right. Well, then I will move phases and go to combat attack you with Lord Windgrace for 11 on attacks. I got to sacrifice a permanent. I'll sacrifice a zombie. Want to draw me a card, and I will get another counter, and then it's 12-12.
I'll block with Aang Swift Savior.
Okay.
Sorry, Aang Destined Savior.
Okay. I've played my landsies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Zach, what are you gonna do?
Not much, my man. I got, like I said, 2 cards in hand. I'm going to discard them both in my upkeep. So, whatever is on top of my deck.
I can kill one of his creatures, but I don't think it's gonna do anything.
No, probably not.
Yeah, probably not. Is it when... Does your shit airbend when you target it or when we target it? This is, I guess when they're targeted, right?
Whenever a creature you controls becomes the target of spell or ability, you may airbend that creature.
All right.
Another creature. So Monkey Atso is the only one.
7. 7 doesn't really... I think that hurts Zach more than anything if I do that play.
I don't think we're long for this world.
Yeah, I'm trying to give us an out, though. Trying to think of the best way I could draw all the cards without... I need a... Whatchamacallit? Yeah, definitely can't do that. It's not going to help us at all. God damn it. Yeah, damn it. Let's do 1. Well, that's 5 mana. Oh shit, that's... Oh yeah, that's 3, 4, 5. That's 5. For the Gitrog monster,
Ooh.
I may play additional land on each of my turns. So I played 1 land already. I'll play another one for my graveyard. It'll be something that sacrifices itself. Oh, what if it fails? Nice.
Nice.
I'll sacrifice it, trigger Lord Windgrace, get a thing. Yeah! That's not great. And then get a land.
You draw 2 cards.
I would draw... Oh, yeah, then from him too, right? It'll be this card. And I'll get a zombie. Yeah, because this whenever you one or more cards put in your graveyard, you draw a card.
Yep.
So I'll draw another card after I shuffle. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not gonna do it, Jason. Not gonna do it. I've done that. I can do that. What does that get me? Gets me something. I will pay 2. Sacrifice a land, and then search my library for a land card with a value tap. So I'll sacrifice a forest. That's going to trigger Lord Windgrace. I've turned so many fucking cards. Draw a card. Trigger this bad boy. Draw a card.
Yeah, if there weren't an army of 1/1s, you'd kind of be going off.
Yeah, I know. That's just said a land card, right? I'll play just Savage Lands. And actually, you know what's crazy? I think there's a Rakdos charm in his deck.
That would kill me.
Hell
I
yeah.
know, there's one in the deck.
I actually might also have one in mind, too.
Yeah, actually, we search while I'm searching for that land. I'm 99% sure there's a Rakdos charm in his deck. And there's also a Villainous Wrath.
That does it, too.
Loses life equal number of creatures I control. Yeah, Rakdos charm, there it is. So it's in here, so let me shuffle.
That would be
If I
pretty
die
fun.
to a Rectus Charm, I deserve it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of another way I can... Oh, I attacked you, Bilal, so I get a lander token.
You do.
It's another
That's
sacrifice
another permanent
object.
Sacrifice.
Yep.
Yep, let me shuffle it up, man. Let me shuffle her up. Give her a good cut. All right. Well, we'll pay the 2 mana for the thing. He gets a thing, and I get to draw this Rakdos Charm. Huzzah! No, it wasn't.
Damn.
Yeah, no. I'll get a land though. I think this is a basic land, right? Yeah, I may be out of those. I've shuffled this deck more fucking times than so many times. I don't think I haven't. Oh, there's a basic land. Give her a cut. I think this is my last out here.
Good luck.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep those open. I'm gonna tap 3. I'm gonna put out a Wayward Sword Tooth. I may play additional land on each of my turns, so I get another land I can play. And I still can cast lands from my graveyard. So I'll put out this Wooded Foothills. I'll sacrifice the Wooded Foothills. He'll get 2 things, and I'll draw 2 cards. Blow. And this is it, man. It's these 2 cards.
This is it.
Actually, it has to be exactly Rakdos Charm because I don't have mana to cast the other card now.
Show it, Jason. Show it.
Here we go. And last one.
Oh.
No.
Damn.
No. Yeah.
That would have been
Let
sweet.
me go get my 1 land, and I'll pass to you, Zach. I think that was it, man. I've drawn like 15 cards that turn. That was pretty awesome.
Alright, well, I'm going to untap. I'm going to sack my Necrogoyf because I don't have a lot of other options.
Can't you end his turn, Zach? Like, just end it?
No, because the player whose turn it is may end the turn.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to discard a Rakdos Carnarium, and then I'm going to discard a card at random. Bilal, choose 1 or 1.
Choose 0.
Alright, it's
zero.
a Vizier of Tumbling Sands, and then top card, Swamp. Yeah, we're dead.
Okay.
Bilal, in your upkeep. Bilal, in your upkeep, do you want to end the turn?
No, thank you.
Alright, I'm going to use Fate Stitcher to untap Obeka. Do you want to end your turn again, Bilal?
No, thank you. Good game.
Yeah, good game.
That was good. So close.
Alright, so both of those games were a ton of fun. I actually really enjoyed playing this Obeka deck because it felt kind of like a meme at first. It felt like a joke. You just kind of, ask your opponents if they want to skip their turns because things are going kind of sideways at the table, and you usually get a laugh out of it because people are not planning to skip their turns at all. And then eventually you start laying down more hate pieces and more upkeep triggers, and eventually that offer to skip someone's turn starts to look a little bit more enticing, which is a weird thing to say because, as I mentioned at the very start of the video, wanting to skip someone's turn is not usually what you want to be doing. So the fact that we can even somewhat incentivize it, I think, is super cool. So I was very happy with how the deck performed. Overall, our opponents in each of the games were also very well off for pretty much everything they were doing. In the first one, Marchesa and Cole obviously ran away with it a little bit at the end, most likely due to the repay in kind and the Goblin Bombardment, but if it hadn't been for kind of the beatdown happening with the rest of the table before then, there's a chance he may not have been able to pull that off. Mort's deck definitely played the aggro at that game. He was able to swing with a ton of monks and just keep going and keep prowessing and keep making more monks. And it seemed like a very straightforward deck, but it also seemed like it had a lot of choice moments where you really had to pick and choose when to cast your spells, when to trigger your prowess. And I think that it is one of those decks that seems very fun to play, even though the gameplay itself may seem relatively linear. And then, of course, last but not least, in that first game, we had Jason with Anakthea, definitely doing some very sweet things with Anakthea. I think that if the game had gone long, I think he could have outvalued the rest of the table, especially because of the sacrifice synergies with some of the sagas and cards that really just exiled things when they came in. It seemed like a very nice balance of removal and ramp and interaction, and I think that overall I was very impressed with the Abzan enchantments, which is not a color combination you see very often. And then, of course, our final game with our 3 players, the Avatar Aang deck did Avatar Aang things, and it ended in probably the most Bilal way possible, where he was able to make an infinite number of tokens with Appa and with Monk Gyatso, which it's interesting that there are infinite combos in the set itself, but still very cool nonetheless. And then, of course, Jason and I attempted to stop the infinite airbending combo, but were unable to do so, as Jason kind of got stuck with a huge board and a ton of sacrifice synergies with Korvold, but was unable to do enough to take out Bilal. And then our deck, it tried. We were able to get a few upkeep stack triggers in place, but they weren't enough to incentivize someone skipping their turn. We just couldn't quite get enough of them on board. Regardless though, I had a ton of fun with both of these games. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the deck tech and both of the games as well. If you did, I would love it if you would like this video and subscribe to the channel. That does help out a lot. We're making our push right now to 2,300 subscribers, so if you can help us get over that hump, I would really appreciate it. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you on the other side of the Dungeon Learner's Guide.